He paid $80,000 to make sure she could never tell her story. She just told it anyway. Her name is Shaniqua Tompkins, and before today, most of you have never heard that name. But this woman was there before 50 Cent had a single dollar. She paid his bills. She was standing outside that house the morning he got shot. She was in that hospital as his next of kin. And when he got rich and powerful, a man showed up at her hotel room door with a contract she was never allowed to read. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what that contract took from her, exactly how much she was actually paid, and exactly what she revealed about the most famous story in 50 Cent's career that he has spent millions trying to bury. Her name, the woman who was there, before the contract, before the lawsuit, and before any of it. You need to know who this woman actually is, because the headline does not tell you the full story. Shaniqua Tompkins met Curtis Jackson in the early 1990s. He was not 50 Cent yet. He was a corner boy from Southside Jamaica, Queens, with no record deal and no money. She was with him for 12 years. And during those 12 years, she was not just his girlfriend. She was the reason he could afford to chase his dream. She worked at the Whitestone Expressway toll bridge in New York, 18 hours a day, while he was trying to break into music with nothing in his pocket. She used that money to pay for his studio sessions, his demo reels, his jewelry, his tattoos. She helped fund Rockin' Apple Records, his very first company. Before Eminem found him, before Shady Records signed him, before the empire existed, there was a woman on a bridge in New York working an 18-hour shift so he could record music. That is not a rumor. That is what she said on camera in her own words. Now think about what that actually means. When you spend your money building someone else's dream, you are not just giving cash, you are giving time you will never get back. Every dollar she put into his career was a dollar she did not put into her own future. And when that person becomes one of the most famous rappers alive, nobody in the history books remembers where the money came from. Now let us get to May 24th, 2000. The day before was May 23rd, her daughter's birthday. She remembers exactly because that is how close it all was. That morning she was outside with 50 Cent at a house in Queens, New York. Their son Marquise was 3 years old. His grandmother was in the yard. A man named Jew was there with his girlfriend waiting in the car. It was a regular morning, until it was not. When the shooting started, she froze. She said on camera that the sound paralyzed her completely. She could not move. What snapped her out of it was his grandmother screaming her name from the yard. She picked Marquise up, ran downstairs, put him in the boiler room in the basement, told him do not move. Then she went back to look for a gun under the bed. She was not running away. She was trying to protect everyone around her. After the shooting, she went to the hospital, and she did not leave. She was there for weeks. She was listed as his next of kin. Here is something important to understand about what that means. Next of kin is a legal designation. When someone arrives at a hospital in critical condition, the medical team does not speak to just anyone. They speak to the next of kin. That person receives all medical updates. That person makes decisions if the patient cannot speak. That person is standing in that hospital hallway at 3 in the morning, waiting for a doctor to come out and tell them if the person they love is going to survive. Shaniqua Tompkins was that person. Not a label executive, not a manager, not a publicist. Her. She said once he came out of his medically induced coma, he saw her standing there and did not let her leave his side. Now, here is the moment this story changes everything. 50 Cent built his entire career on being shot 9 times. 9 times. That number became part of his identity, his mythology, the reason people believed he was untouchable. He made albums about it. He put it in interviews. He built a brand on surviving something nobody else survived. Here is Shaniqua Tompkins, the woman who was standing outside that house, the woman who was in that hospital as his next of kin.
But he was shot 5 times. 5 times. Once in the jaw, the arm, the hip, and everything else was like little like flesh wound, but 5 times. It was not 9. He said he came up with 5. His reasoning to me why he said he came up with 5 was because Tupac got shot 9 times. 5 times. He said Tupac got shot 5 times, so he wanted to sensationalize it because he didn't want to be compared to Tupac. He wanted to make it bigger.
She was his next of kin. She was in constant communication with those doctors. She was the person in that room when he could not speak for himself. And she is saying on camera, 5 times, not 9. And she says he told her personally. He chose 9 because Tupac was shot 5 times and he wanted his story to be bigger. That is not just a detail about a shooting. That is the foundation of an entire career built on a number that was never real. And the one person who knew the truth was someone he would later pay $80,000 to silence. So here's the question that leads us directly into the next chapter. If she knew this much, what else did she know? And what did he do the moment he had enough power and money to make sure she could never say any of it out loud? Contract. The year is 2007. 50 Cent is at the absolute peak of his power. Get Rich or Die Trying has sold over 12 million copies worldwide. The G-Unit brand is everywhere. He is one of the most famous and most feared men in the music industry. And Shaniqua Tompkins is a single mother, raising their son Marquise alone, living in a house in Long Island that 50 Cent purchased. No record deal, no management, no empire, just a woman trying to raise a child while the man she spent 12 years supporting is on top of the world. That year, a man named Chris Lighty reached out to her. You need to understand exactly who Chris Lighty was. He was not just a manager. He was one of the most powerful figures in the entire music industry. He co-founded Violator Management in New York City. At the same time, he managed 50 Cent, Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes, and LL Cool J. When Chris Lighty called, people answered. When Chris Lighty showed up at your door, you listened. He was not someone you said no to without consequences. Chris Lighty showed up at her hotel room in Las Vegas, Nevada. He did not come to catch up. He did not come with a gift from Marquise. He came with a contract. And according to Shaniqua's sworn statement filed in federal court on January 14, 2026, she was shown only the signature page, not the full agreement, not the terms, not what she was signing away, just the line where her name was supposed to go. She signed it. She stated under oath that she signed that contract under extreme duress, that she feared for her life, that she feared for her children's lives, that the conditions of that hotel room gave her no real choice. Now here is what that contract actually said. The agreement was between Shaniqua Tompkins and G-Unit Books, 50 Cent's publishing company. The contract granted G-Unit Books unconditional, irrevocable, exclusive, and perpetual rights to her life story. Every memory, every experience, every detail from those 12 years, anything connected to her life with Curtis Jackson was no longer hers to tell. He owned it, legally, on paper, with no end date. That word perpetual is the one that matters most. Perpetual does not mean for a few years. It does not mean until the book comes out. It means forever. As long as that contract stands, she cannot write a book about her own life. She cannot make a documentary about her own life. She cannot do a paid interview about her own experiences. The moment she earns money from her own story, she is in breach of contract, and he can take her to court. In exchange for all of that, G-Unit Books agreed to pay her $80,000. She received $35,000. The remaining $45,000 was never paid. And on top of that, they deducted $5,000 from her payment for a lawyer she says she never hired, a lawyer she never met, a lawyer she never once spoke to. $5,000 removed from her check for legal representation she says did not exist. Now here is the teaching moment, because most people have never heard the term life rights agreement, and it matters enormously to understanding how serious this contract actually was. A life rights agreement is a legal contract where one person gives another person or company the right to tell their story. Film studios use these agreements constantly. When a studio wants to make a movie based on a real person's life, they purchase the life rights first. When a publisher wants to release a memoir, they secure the life rights. These agreements are standard in entertainment, but standard life rights agreements have a defined scope. They cover one specific project, one specific time period, one specific use. You sell someone the right to make one film about one chapter of your life, and everything else stays yours. What Shaniqua Tompkins signed was unconditional and perpetual, no defined scope. No specific project, no time limit, no boundaries on what they could do with it or what she could never do again. She did not sell one story. She signed away her entire identity across those 12 years, with no expiration date, to a company controlled by the man she had just left. And she signed it after being shown only the signature page. Here is Shaniqua Tompkins speaking directly on camera, addressing that contract in her own.
Have a non-disclosure agreement. What it is, it's a fictional. It's a contract for a book and life rights that he is showing everyone. Which we all know, a contract has a beginning and an ending date. So that's going to definitely have to be worked out legally, because he's preventing me from making a living.
She said it plainly. He is preventing her from making a living. That is not a dramatic statement. That is a legal reality. She cannot monetize her own memory. She cannot profit from her own experience. She cannot turn 12 years of her life into income of any kind without risking a lawsuit from the man she helped build from nothing. And the one person who was in that Las Vegas hotel room when she signed, the one person who could testify about the conditions of that meeting, the one person who could speak to whether she was given a fair opportunity to understand what she was agreeing to, was Chris Lighty. Chris Lighty died on August 30th, 2012. He was found at his home in Riverdale, New York. He was 44 years old. The only witness to what happened in that hotel room is gone. So here is where we are. She signed a contract she was not allowed to read. She received $35,000 out of $80,000 promised. $5,000 more was taken for a lawyer she says she never met. And the one man who could tell the world what really happened in that room cannot speak anymore. For 18 years, she stayed quiet, until she did not. And what happened the moment she finally decided to speak? That is exactly what the final chapter is about.
When she finally spoke. 18 years is a long time to stay quiet about your own life, but staying quiet was not a choice she made freely.
That contract was sitting there, unconditional, irrevocable, perpetual, no exit door and no expiration date. And before she ever broke that silence, something happened in 2007 that showed her exactly what this man was capable of. Her house burned down. She says someone said it deliberately. That Monday, she had a meeting at her lawyer's office. 50 Cent threatened her. He said, "Watch how I get down." That Friday, she had a deposition. A Dodge Magnum followed her to school, drop off. Everyone in that circle knew G-Unit members drove Dodge Magnums. She ditched the car and made it to the courthouse. That night, still dark outside, she heard glass shatter. She went to the stairs. 3 steps down, the flames shot from the floor to the ceiling like a wall of fire. She got everyone out through an upstairs window. 4 minors. Marquise, her daughter, her youngest sister, a family friend's son. An off-duty police officer driving past saw the smoke and caught them as they jumped. She said on camera, she believes the intention was to kill them, not scare them, kill them, because it happened while they were all asleep in the dark. She had nothing, no house, no clothes, no phone, standing outside in pajamas watching everything burn, and still she stayed quiet until 2023. She launched her YouTube channel, Other Side of the Coin, told her story carefully. Then in June 2025, she went further on Instagram Live. She named names, she spoke freely. 17 days later, G-Unit Books filed a $1 million federal lawsuit against her. On January 14, 2026, she filed her response. Signed under extreme duress, feared for her life, shown only the signature page. The lawyer they deducted $5,000 for. She never met him. And the one witness who could confirm what happened in that hotel room, Chris Lighty, has been dead since 2012. What happened to her has a name: weaponized silence. The contract was never used to make a book. It was used to build a wall around her memory. That is not a business deal. That is a cage with a price tag on it. Here is Shaniqua in her own words, explaining why she...
I've been controlling the narrative for so many years and lying. Like, just, it's nothing else. You know, it's 3 sides of the truth, but the truth is, you know, whatever the saying, how it goes, you know, he's just a liar. He just lies, he manipulates, he spins.
She worked 18-hour shifts to fund his dream. She survived a burning house with 4 children, or she stayed quiet for 18 years. And when she finally spoke, he sent her a $1 million lawsuit. So here's your question for the comments. If you built someone from nothing and they used the law to silence you, would you have spoken sooner? Or was 18 years of quiet worth staying safe? A federal court will decide whether that contract was legal, but no court in the world can give her back 18 years of silence. She funded his dream from a toll bridge. She hid his son in a basement while bullets flew. She survived a burning house in the middle of the night. And when she finally told her own story, it cost her a $1 million lawsuit. The question is not whether she had the right to speak. The question is, why did it take the law to make her afraid to?